Hello, you're watching TVP World Talks. I'm Jonasz Rewiński. An exciting discovery was made off the Polish coast, one which carries great potential for the country's energy independence. 22 million tons of crude oil and 5 billion cubic meters of commercial-grade natural gas. These numbers have set the pulse racing among industry experts. But what needs to be done to translate these findings into actual profit for the nation's economy? Joining us now is Rolf Skaar, CEO at Central European Petroleum, the company which has first made the findings in question. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
So first of all, just to put things in perspective, can you tell us a bit more about your company, what it does and what it is about?
Thank you. Yes. So Central European Petroleum is a company that's been working to understand the main dolomite geology for the last 15 years. We've only drilled, this first well in Poland, but before this, we've drilled more than 8 wells in Germany, close to Poland. We've acquired lots of seismic data. So we actually come to a point now where we are pretty advanced in our understanding of this geology. And as a result, we had high hopes when we started to drill this well. And of course, we are very happy now that we have made this significant discovery, which is, hopefully very good news for Central Europe, but also very good news for Poland and, of course, its energy situation.
So as a result of these prospecting activities, we now know that there is a promising deposit located off the Polish coast. Now, we've already mentioned the data, but how does it translate into actual economic opportunities? How does it compare to what Poland already has, for example?
Well, I think this find will not, of course, completely change the energy landscape of Poland. Of course, Poland will, is today importing large amounts of oil every day. But I think, this discovery can potentially produce, the equivalent of 4 to 5% of Poland's, daily requirements. And what we are doing now is we are submitting the technical documentation to the authorities, which will basically, describe the technical discovery that we have made. We will also be, showcasing the development concept that we will be looking at. And once this is approved, we will then be, moving the project forward as quickly as possible to first oil. So we're very confident that the size of this field means that this will be an economic development going forward.
So speaking of which, what can you tell us about the accessibility of these deposits? Poland actually has a history of findings in the past which pertained to more technologically complex deposits, shale gas basically, which later on turned out not to be economically viable. But here, I understand we're talking about something which is reasonably accessible using available technology, right?
Yes, no, absolutely. This is conventional oil and gas. So this is not shale oil and gas. This is conventional. And this type of geology has been produced for many years in many parts of Europe, stretching all the way from England in the west, all the way through Europe, through Holland, through Germany and into Poland. So this is nothing new. And I think, what Central European Petroleum brings to the table, is 15 years of experience understanding when the geology works, when you have the economic flow rates. And this well has basically proven that has proven our understanding of the geology. And we therefore think there is a very high chance that this will be developed in an economic manner.
And now that you've mentioned the geology of the area, do you think it is actually reasonable to suspect that perhaps more such findings could be made in the near future?
Absolutely. I mean, this is very exciting for both the company and for Poland, because, what normally is the case is when you do find oil and gas, there is, very often more oil and gas in the vicinity. So we think this opens up a whole new area. There's been very little work, or there's been actually no drilling activity done here since the 80s. So we're sort of opening up again an area which we think we will discover many more oil and gas deposits going forward. So absolutely.
So as we've established, Poland is not likely to become the Central European equivalent of Qatar, perhaps, but it will have an impact, a positive one, on the nation's economy. Now, before it happens, obviously, certain formalities need to be completed. Now, can you think of any hurdles which would need to be crossed on the way to commercially viable exploitation of this oil field?
I mean, as I mentioned, what we're doing now is we are now compiling the necessary technical documentation to send in to the authorities. And once we've done that, we will also then look at the development schemes that are possible for the area. But as mentioned, the geology is known from before. We will be using similar development concepts that have been used before. It's close to the market. We see the oil as being very similar to the oil that is existing in other fields in Poland. So we expect the refineries to easily accept the oil. So no, I don't see any sort of specific hurdles or difficulties. We are not trying to do anything that has not been done before. We have just sort of done the work we need to do to understand that the geology works where the oil is, found the oil, and now we will take it to the next phase to the development.
What about the legal side of things? I understand that most of this deposit is actually located in Polish territorial waters. Does it mean that there are not likely to be any third-party claims with respect to this particular area?
Yeah, no, this section is all in Poland. So Wolin East that we have found is a separate structure that is 100% situated in Poland. So, we will take the project forward then with the Polish authorities. Whether the Polish authorities decide to talk to a neighboring country, Germany, etc., is of course up to them. But this is a separate deposit in Poland, and we are very happy to have constructive, positive dialogue with the Polish authorities to move the project forward, and then we will liaise with the Polish authorities in the manner they see fit going forward.
And you don't see any risk of, for example, environmentalist groups challenging this, saying that this particular area might, if used for that purpose, suffer as a result of industrial activity in any meaningful way. There were signals initially that, when drilling first began, that some such objections have appeared. No, I mean, we always recognize everybody's, right to voice their concerns that they may have. We are happy to talk to any stakeholders that would like to talk to us. But again, we are not trying to do anything exotic or new or difficult here. We are doing what has been done before. We are, using conventional technical or technology to develop, and we will sort of, of course, progress the project in an environmentally friendly manner. So we don't see any specific issues there. But as I said, we're of course happy to talk to any stakeholders that want to talk to us about our plans to sustainably and in an efficient manner develop this field. And how long does it take to proceed from exploratory drilling to commercial exploitation? What sort of infrastructure needs to be put in place in order for the oil to be extracted on a commercial basis?
Yeah, no, and this is what we're looking at just now. We've put out some studies to look at the various development concepts. And what we're actually looking at is a very interesting way of developing, and this is similar to what Poland has already done. When they sort of dredged the canal between Swinoujście and Szczecin, the dredging material, the sand, they made separate islands in the Szczecin lagoon. We are actually thinking of doing the same thing. When they are now sort of dredging the canal into the new container terminal in Swinoujście, we are thinking about using the sand to make this island just offshore Poland, just offshore of the new container terminal. And this means we will not be impacting the environment on shore. We will basically be doing everything offshore in the same area that we were actually given approval to drill the exploration well. So sort of our plan is to make a small island offshore Swinoujście. We will then produce the oil there, and we will then ship the oil through the new canal that is being made now already for the container terminal up to the terminal in Gdansk. So we think that is a sort of a very sensible, practical, and likely, economically feasible way of developing the Bolian field.
And what is the general time frame for investments of this kind, from your experience, from the moment that all the paperwork is sorted out, and there is no more red tape to actually be dealt with? How much time would it take to begin commercial exploitation?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to put an exact number on that, but it will take 2 or 3 to 4 years to put everything in place, likely before you have first production. But it depends a little bit, of course, on the development scheme that we go for, etc. But that is sort of the general timeline for putting the field on production.
Rolf Skaar was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us and for sharing the information about this exciting project.
Thank you so much.
And I'm Jonasz Lewiński. You're watching TVP World. Please stay with us for more latest news and updates.